So yeah, let's start. Once again, good evening to everyone who has joined today. Um, of course, we're nearing completion of the GIS basic training, the GIS training for mining. We're just very close now to ending the basic training. And once again, thank you for joining in. We'll continue straight from where we stopped yesterday. Um, of course, by now we know where to go to open our ArcGIS app. Either we have already pinned it on the taskbar, you double click on the app, then the app will open, or you go to your Windows search and then, of course, you type ArcGIS Pro, and then you'll be in. Or you go to your desktop. If you go to your desktop, you will see the app there. You can double click that one and open. And once you click, the project initializes. You have an interface like this. We already know now what to do. Of course, you have your recent project which you are working on. So you can click. Can you guys please click on your recent project, which is the GIS Training 2024.aprx. And then, of course, at the bottom you have the file part of where this particular project is saved. So all you need to do is to click on that project, or you double click on that project, and then you are ready to go. So once you click on the project, you have to wait for the project to open. Depending um, on the performance of your computer, that will determine how soon your app will be available to you. I think we need to wait for the other guys because I see that some guys are already out. I don't know if they're having network problem. So maybe we will pause for now. But I hope at this point we have already filled in the names of the villages. I haven't done mine, but I expect that we have all done so. Um, whilst we are waiting for the other participants, I will um, continue with my settlement edit. Remember, this is what we were doing yesterday. We were editing these points because initially, when we digitized these settlements, remember initially we digitized the settlements or the points using the satellite imagery, and we just had to click anywhere on the village. So, but the satellite imagery does not tell us what is the name of that point or what is the name of that village. So that is why we added the Sierra Leone 50K topo, at least to guide us or to aid us in um, um, in 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 labeling some of the points. But remember, we had some issues yesterday. You can see that some of the points or some of the settlements which you have already generated does not have names on the Sierra Leone 50K topo. For example, I have zoomed into this area. You can see the only village or the only point that is being labeled on the Sierra Leone 50K topo is Mokepe, and you have one red point on the map. If you take off the Sierra Leone 50K topo, you will see that this is the settlement there. If you bring it on again, you see that you have the settlement. Yeah. So, but for this point, for example, for this point which I've already highlighted, you can see that this point does not have any settlement name. You can see that this other settlement does not have any settlement name. So somebody might ask, say, how do I know what is the name of the settlement, of this settlement? So basically, one way you can get, first of all, we need to establish why these settlements are not labeled on the serial 50K tuple, or we need to know why they are not existing on the serial 50K tuple. Remember yesterday what I said? I said that when the serial 50K tuple was developed, most of these villages, or some of these villages we see now on the satellite imagery, did not exist at the time of producing the Sierra Leone 50K tuple. So you can't see them. These are just new settlements that are sprouting up within the mining lease area as a result of mining. So that is why we are seeing them on the satellite imagery, because it's recent photographs taken from above the globe. So if you do not know the name of the settlement, what you can do is, or one way you can get to get the name of the settlement is to send, let's say, social surveyors there, or someone down the ground to go and ask about these villages, let's say the name of these villages, or to record information about these points. Say, for example, if I send somebody out in the field, the person will come to this village and ask for the name of this village. If, for example, they say the name of the village is, um, let's say, is Yen Yen Town, for example, Yen Town, I will hit enter on my keyboard, and then that's fine. So I now know that this point is called Yen Town. All right. So um, so please, if you haven't completed digital, if you haven't completed editing your points, please do continue and let's complete, because after this I want us to start labeling. Today we will do labeling, how to label points, how to label lines, how to label polygons, and we will do geometry calculations. We'll do labeling, after that we'll do geometry calculation, and then if we have time we can start working with KML. Or after the training I'll provide the Excel, the CSV, and also the AutoCAD files to you guys, so that when we come tomorrow, we will work with those data sets that are external data sets, the CSVs, the Excel, the um, the KML file, and also the DXF files. So, but for today, I want us to, if you haven't completed your table, please do that now. All right. So, for example, for this point, for me, this point is Modoko. So it means let me see this. But you can see where the village is a bit farther away from where the point is. So I'm going to check this village. Looks like this is where the village was. Let me turn off the. This is where the village was initially. But you can see when you look on the imagery, you can see that this area has been already mined out. You can see the tailings deposition here, or the tailings deposited here. And now you can see that the new village is now here. It means this village was initially here, but now they have been relocated to a new environment. So if you see that this point is closer to what is on the CL50K to pull, what you need to do is to use this name for this point. So in that case, I'm going to use this name for this settlement. And then once I'm done, and you hit enter on your keyboard, and then you click the next point, you double click the next point, it will take you to the point or to the settlement. Now this point is Jagbahu. Jagbahu. So I'm going to type exactly what is here on the CL50K to pull map. Okay. This point is Mombawa. 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 Which other point is this? This point is Mau. Momau. I'll hit I'll hit enter on my keyboard, and I'll click the second point and the next point. So this next point looks like this village. So I'm going to check what is happening. So it looks like initially this settlement was here. If you switch off the 350K, you will notice that this settlement was initially here, but because of mining, you can see that the settlement was here. But because of mining, you can see now the pond. This settlement has now been relocated very close to the road here. So in that case, what do? You use this name for this point. So we say this is Shebuema. Once you're done, please hit enter on your keyboard. I'll go to my next point, and this is Mokepe. I'll hit enter. So guys, I just want you guys to remember that you can do the same if you digitize. For example, if you create a shapefile called line or polyline, and then you digitize this. Let's say you want contours for a certain area, let's say within this area. All you need to do is to digitize these lines. Once you are done, you give them values in your attribute table, and you can use long integer or short or float. Sorry guys. Um, this one, let me see if this one has a name. This one does not have a name on the CLM50K tuple, but I already know the name of this place, so I will type in the name. And then I'll click this one. I also know the name, but if you bring the CLM50K tuple, you will see that there is no name around it, but I know the name. So I'll just put South 4. This is John Trailer. Um, this should be another village, but there is no name. So I'll just type unknown settlement. But of course, if you have if you want to know the name, you can send boots on the ground, and then they can have a look at. They can do a social survey and go to the town and ask what's the name of the village. This is Pangbaya. Let me see how many points. I think I'm in the middle. So guys, once you are done editing, once you are done editing, you please go to edit. You please go to edit and then you save your edit. You go to edit and then you save your edit. So please, for now, I guess because this was given as an assignment yesterday, I guess um we have all edited the name column, and we have our inputs ready. So now I want us to go to labeling. I want us to go to labeling. And now, when we talk about labeling, can you please switch off the Sierra Leone 50K to Pro? Please switch off Sierra Leone 50K to Pro. Please make sure you go to edit and save your edits. And remember, when you save your edits, you will always have the last point which will be highlighted. So what you can do is you can go to select and then you can just click outside the box, and now you have deselected that point. All right. So, but now what we need to do is we want to give these points labels. We want to label them so that whenever somebody sees these points, the person will be able to know that this point that is the name of the village or whatever. So, how do we go about it? It's very important that we label some of our spatial layers, so that the map reader will be able to understand what the map really means. It's not everyone that has the map intuition, but when you label some of these properties or when you label some of these layers, um, I mean, a novice map reader can be able to exactly know what that means. So when the person sees the point and also with the name of the village, the person will be able to identify his or her village. So labeling, we are now under labeling. So now how do we go about labeling? Please, on the settlement, can you please right click on settlement? Please right click on settlement and click on label, enable labeling. So once you click on label, you are now ready to enable labeling of the layer. So please right click on the layer settlement and click on label. Ooh. Please right click on the layer settlement under your content and please click on label. So I'm going to hit label. Now, the moment you click on label, you will notice that the points have been labeled 0. It means the labeling function is using a certain column to label the point. I'll come again. When you right click on settlement, and then you go to label, when you enable the label, you will notice, I'm going to click it, you will notice that the points have been labeled 0. This means that the labeling function is using a certain field under your table, under your attribute table. Remember, if you right click and then you go to attribute table, you will see the fields, you will see the available fields or within your layer or in your layer. You have the FID, you have the shape, you have the ID, you have the name, you have the coordinate, X core, you have the Y core, you have the height, you have the chief name, you have the number of schools, number of health centers, number of houses, population, and so forth and so on. Now, we want to use one of these fields. What we want to do is we want to use one of these fields to label these points. At this moment, it looks like we are using this field, the ID field. That is why you are seeing the label 0. So, but we need to change this ID 0 to name, so that this point will be labeled with the exact name. So I'm going to close the settlement. Now we know that we are going to use this field. We will be using this field called name to label our point or to label our settlement. So I'm going to right click again. Please right click on your layer. Please right click on your layer. We have 10 minutes and we will end the training, and then I'll resume the training again. Please right click on settlement and please click on labeling properties. This time not label, because if you click again, the label will go off. If you click on label, the label will come up. But we have noticed that the labeling function is using the ID field. But if we want to label our point with the exact settlement name, we need to use the name field. Under our attributes, we need to use the name field. So please right click on your settlement layer under your content, and then you click on labeling properties. Now, once you click on labeling properties, you will see that the label class settlement has been activated. You see the window here on your right. Now, for under expression, please come down to expression, please. You will see that you have the $sign and then you have future.id. It means the expression you are using to label this point is ID. It means you are using the ID column, or you are using the ID field. You right click on your settlement and then you go to labeling properties. The label class of the layer, which is settlement, is now activated. Now, please come down to expression. So there are two things here which you will look for. Here, expression, this is where you put your expression, and then here under fields. Now, if you want to change this expression, remember we want to use the name field. We have to use the name field to label this point. I'm going to right click settlement and open the attribute again. We have to use this field name to label this point, so that this point will have the names of the villages. So now when we right click on the settlement layer, on the layer we want to label, and then you click on labeling properties, the label class settlement will be activated. Two areas you need to look out for. One is the fields and also expression. Now, the current expression we are using is $future.id. It means we are using the ID field. So there are two ways you can do it. You can either type in here, you can change, you can highlight the ID and type in name, or you please click, there is a scroll up, scroll down here. You scroll and then I don't know if you guys are seeing. And then there is a you highlight everything, highlight everything under this expression, highlight everything, and then you come under field here. There is a up, down, or you scroll on your mouse, and then once you see name, you double click. Now you have changed your expression from $future.id. Now you have changed it to name. Once you click that, you can apply. You see, now we have our future names now. You can now go to symbol and change to your desired color. Hmm. Guys, are we together? Is anyone lost?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Is anyone lost in the forest?
Hello. Yeah.
All right, I will explain again. You right click on settlement. If you click label, you should have an expression which is .id. Already I've selected an expression, that is why you are seeing the point. But if you want to use a certain field, let's say for example, I'm going to right click on my settlement and I'll click on attribute table, and then I'll come to my attribute table. Let's say I want to label chief name. For example, I want to use chief name for this point. Let's say I'm making a map. I want to show all the chief names of this settlement. So this is what I would do to use these chief names on this point. I will right click on settlement. I will click on labeling properties. These are not labeling properties. I will come straight to fields. Now, before I come to fields, I have to first, this expression, I have to highlight everything. You highlight, you left click, and then you drag your mouse, and then you have highlighted the expression. Now you have to change this entire expression. So all you need to do is to come back to field and scroll your mouse and look for chief name, chief name. Once you see chief name, you double click. Now your expression have changed to dollar future dot chief underscore name. Now you can hit on apply, and then you now have the names of the chiefs of each settlement instead of having the names. Can you guys see from my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so basically you can use any field to label your your layers. You can use any field to label your layers. Um, I will go back to my name. I'll go back to my name. I will highlight everything. I will look for name. Sometimes it's hard to find. But of course, if I want to see it, what I'll do is I'll left click and hold and bring my arrow here, left click, and then I'll move this one a little bit from there, and then I'll release, and then I'll have to open up this one a little bit. I'll left click, hold, and then I'll open this one a little bit. Now I can see properly. If you have to leave it like this, you can actually see the field, so you can open it a little bit, and then I can now look for, you see, there is an up, down, scroll up, scroll down. I can now highlight everything, and then I double click. You double click on name, and then you hit apply. So once you see that your point has been labeled with the exact field, you can now left click, you hold on this thing, and then you bring it to this. You see, you bring it to this corner. You bring it to this corner, and then you release it. See, so now you have your label class settlement. All right, guys. We will stop the training for now, and then I'll reconnect again for the second session of the training. So once we come back, we are not doing labeling again. We will now go to calculating geometry. I want us to calculate geometry for points, lines, and polygons. How do we go about calculating points, lines, and polygons? So that is going to be our next session.